And now I'm going to call on stage, as we've already heard all of her epic achievements. So we'll start with CEO, author, actress, model, mother, great partner to a really handsome husband, and my new friend, Brooke Shields.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, honey. Whoa. That was the energy between us. Yeah, that was.
Powerful women.
We just,
Each other, it ignites everything. I like what I want to say is I don't think I'm a model mother. But I like when they put model and mother next to each other.
Model
like,
spouse. Throw that
I'm
in
a
front of
model
everything.
mother. Nope. Ask my daughters.
Okay, so we have lots, there's so much happening with you right now. I'm going to start with beauty. And the reason I'm going to start with that is that I have watched Pretty Baby on Hulu. Have many of you guys seen Pretty Baby on Hulu? If not, you're missing. It's an incredibly...
So 3 people have. Thank you.
No.
Thank you so much. No.
You should watch it because it's really interesting and takes you on a journey of decades that I grew up in, and maybe some of you guys did. And you see what an icon and visible human Brooke was. So beauty was...
One thing about the documentary is not like it's not...
Oh, it's not about that.
Thankfully, it's not a where are they now? or whatever happened to, it's really an exploration of the sexualization of young women in America and in my industry in particular. And I was sort of at the center of it as the age of 11, and so it's that, it's not just and I didn't produce it, so.
It's incredibly poignant, and I think as yet another example of your willingness to talk about uncomfortable things for the benefit of a larger audience of women and girls. So beauty dropped on you early. It was a big part of probably what you were told you were. I've heard a lot of people just discuss the beauty of your face, which as a young woman, I imagine was creepy but interesting and maybe cool.
It's an interesting thing because if you're born you look a certain way, right? And so when I was the cover of Time magazine as like a look of a decade, it was so ridiculous to me because it felt so, I couldn't understand where that was coming from. It was an arbitrary, did God come down and say, this is the face? But you learn to sort of navigate it because you say, if you've got good people around you, you start looking at it as not something that is your currency. Something that, yes, can be used. It was a source of income for my mother and I. But it was also something that I started at a very early age to really associate with wellness. And when I say that, the external was always so focused on that to me, the internal was what I wanted. And not just health and all that, but like cultivating my brain, cultivating the things that people couldn't see so that I wouldn't just become a statistic. And all of a sudden, once I was older and I didn't have that face, people get mad that I'm older. They really do. They're like, no. I told a guy the other day that we were talking about wine and he was showing off. It was at his house and it was a thing for my kids. And that sounded like such a good mother moment.
Because you are a model mother.
Because I'm a model mother. Yep. And I'm going to unpack that later. But
uncork that.
Yeah, uncork that later. Oh, see, she's good. Yeah. Well, we were talking about wine, and he was talking about ages of wine, and I was thinking wine, getting older, And I said to him, I'm 58 years old. I was born in, and I was about to say 1965. What bottle does it get jammy? And he looked at me because you really shouldn't have told me that. Oh. And I said, why? I said, does that make you older? And he was like, he wanted me to be the 15-year-old in Blue Lagoon that he had on his wall or whatever. I thought, that's such a fascinating thing for us to really approach with regards to beauty and what that means and where really is the currency of that.
That is a fascinating way to think about it, like the impact your growth, your aging has on other people's identity. Like that's a fascinating, fucked up, like misogynistic thing.
Yeah, and it's like, unbelievable.
You're hurting me by how dare you progressing as the
And beauty has always been a fraught thing, because we've never really been, I always was taught like beauty is frivolous, beauty is vanity, beauty is all these things. And as I've gotten older, beauty is a privilege. And when I say beauty, it's not how you look, it's really how you take care of yourself and what that means to you. And I was never the skinny one. I was called healthy. That meant in my industry, not skinny. And that's what it was. It was like, oh no, she's the athletic one. Yep. And you grow up with that and you start, my body shaming was started early. And so there's so much that we all experience. My experience was just sort of more public.
Yes, it was. And how do you think about this interplay between beauty and health? Again, when it sounds like health was kind of leveled against you or used as a way to identify something that would ultimately be, a shaming feature. How do you think now about the interplay between beauty and health and wellness?
I think beauty is wellness. I think that we are allowed to take care of ourselves. And I know if I look better, I do feel better. I know if I feel better, I look better, but they're interchangeable, and women aren't taught that. And this is why we also seek. Why are we seeking looking like our daughters? Well, we shouldn't. We should seek looking our best. But every line on my face, fine, get Botox or whatever, it's all fine. But I earned all of that. And with these years came so much experience that we all deserve to own. We don't have one foot in the grave the minute we're 40.
And that's a big point of I think, what you're doing. And what many of us in the room and in our different endeavors, for us, it's flow space. For many, it's innovation in, maintaining ovaries, is this idea that we've got a lot of opportunity to be vital, to be productive. I do think there's an element of Handmaid's Tale of one chapter is to get to, you're not allowed to actually get out of adolescence yourself, because that makes the men feel good. But you get to pubescence, then maybe you're meant to, if you so choose, go become a fertile person who's going to produce offspring. And then what? It's wait, what do you got to do now? You could take care of your parents, maybe, or
especially if your kids start leaving.
Yes.
When your kids start going away, the empty nest thing is. It's real.
It's real.
Your value, even to yourself. And I even said to my daughter, she was sort of balking at something that I said as usual, and I said to her, "You've got to realize," I said, "for about 18 years, I have told you everything to do and be. Now you are revealing yourself as a young woman to me, and I'm having to adapt to that."
Yeah,
and in a way, I feel the same way about this age, because we've been one thing to so many people in their eyes, and we now need to positively start revealing ourselves in this brilliant stage of our growth.
And so how did that has become a platform for you, and you are Beginning Is Now, which is an unbelievable source of data, science, research, stories. We talk about science and stories at Flow. And I think you've created this community, this space where women can be themselves, can revel, and maybe and
commiserate as well.
Yeah, exactly. Commiserate as well.
It's a community. So it was during COVID, and I basically sort of started my version of a blog, but it was an online platform to bring together women who I had hoped would be like-minded, because I found myself in this era of my life thinking, God, I'm so excited. This is the beginning for me. There's so much that I've done, but now I get to focus on myself and I get to try new things. And all of a sudden, doors were being slammed. And listen, I get it in my industry. You're no longer the ingenue, but I'm not quite, in Depends and the grandma yet.
You're here, you're not.
I'll get there. Don't make me laugh too hard. I may pee my pants.
And God forbid sneezing.
God forbid. No. Woo! Woo!
Yeah.
That's why my legs are crossed. But there is this. So I thought to myself, I can't be the only one feeling this way. It was when I had postpartum. Whenever I have something that happens in my life, I think, oh my God, this is so isolating. I feel like I'm the only person ever. And then I sort of step back and say, there's no way you're the only person experiencing this. So I began this community called Beginning Is Now, because I couldn't get the beginning is now. I couldn't get beginning. I couldn't get all these things. So I could only get beginning is now.
We love it. We love it.
And what amassed was these women, fabulous, beautiful women from all over the world saying, I'm not quite sure where I am in my life right now. And then we started talking, and then I realized, oh, there is something here. There is research that needs to be done, and I'm a perpetual student. So I started doing research on what this era of life meant to women and what was happening and where the white space was. And we really built, and all of a sudden I realized this is bigger than even my idea of just creating this community. Or I didn't create it, the community built itself. But then I realized, oh, this is something bigger. This is where you have to switch the way you're looking at it.
And that took you to the role that you have now, which is CEO. And it is an interesting flip.
I'm a CEO.
She's a CEO. Just get it up.
All right.
Yeah.
And by the way, we are all CEOs of our household, of our life, hopefully of the men in our lives. And my best girlfriend said, because I said, I'm a CEO. And she said, oh, please. She said, are you fucking kidding me? She goes, you've been a CEO since you came out of the womb.
I know. I love that.
And in a way, I thought, oh, you know what? That's sort of true, because part of what I've realized by starting a business and actually being in this position is how I've lived my life. Because I've had to pivot and shift and reinvent, and one medium doesn't want me, so I try to find another one. And it's this constant shift, and then you get to a point where you realize, okay, I know what I'm good at, but now I need to surround myself with actual industry experts. And that's what I did. And what has happened is it's brought us to this place now, which is exactly where I prayed and hoped that we would get, because it's continually growing.
And now you've got a business.
Now I have a business.
And I love that you...
I have business cards.
Yeah, she's
y'all.
got business cards, bitches, business cards. Like, maybe you'll get
They just
one.
say business cards. There's nothing else on them.
It's not that you're a businesswoman. Do you? And I love that you keep the friends around who are like,
high school. We met in 15.
You've been a CEO since infancy. Come on, woman. I do like that very much. And so, contemplating the title and looking at how you are running what is a burgeoning and growing, scaling business. I know you've surrounded yourself with experts, but are there people in particular who you really trust, who are able to be the sounding board?
Well, I mean, I'm not stupid insofar as I know what I'm good at.
Yep.
I understand what my brand is, and my brand is just a conduit.
Okay.
You know, if you're a famous person or a recognizable person, you have to find out what that really means and where that value is, you know? And so it was finding a kick-ass COO.
Right.
Who could do what they do better than I would have ever even tried to do. You know, it's finding marketing people. It's finding a president that has history in this. It's finding product developers who will actually be involved, who know what they're doing in product development. So product innovation is not just me slapping my face on something and saying, buy this, it's gonna help you. But what we did was we really found out where the white space was. I can't really announce it now.
No,
I wish it was a little, it's coming in the summer, but what it was really tapping into the community, finding what their needs were, what happens after 40, you know, thinning hair, scalp health, collagen, loss of collagen, all these things that happen to our bodies, and really sort of addressing that, and then going to the experts and saying, what proprietary formulas can we find? What does that mean? And what is that, and what is our messaging? And then you find the experts in what they do with packaging. And there's so many different levels, but it's really surrounding myself with people who know better than I do.
Well, and that's what a CEO does. I mean, a good CEO surrounds herself with the people who is aware, the good CEO, of what. Wait, we're wearing the same bracelet. I just have to say.
I know.
Okay, that's weird. But surrounding herself with those people who know things and trusting that your vision can be held by them. And also, I think it's so. I don't know a lot of dudes, low-key mean, but who know that they're not. Who will admit that they're not good at something. Like
part of the whole thing that I've found so fascinating is that whenever I say I don't understand this, I'm looked at like I'm crazy. You know, I said, well, how am I supposed to? You know, when you're making a film or you're making a television show, I know what my expertise is. I can understand lights and direction and all of that, but I can't operate the camera. So why not get the best camera operator? And so it's this sort of collaboration that I think women are really good at. I think, you know, I don't have an ego about it. You know, with regards to being the CEO, I'm always going to be the founder. I'm always going to be, I'm never detaching myself. This is my sort of next child. But I can bring it to a certain level, and then I need somebody who's even more kick-ass and more experienced to bring it to the next huge level. So I think that that's what, and I know, I notice that women are able to do that. They're able not only to multitask, but they're able to sort of say, I'm going to amass the best.
Yeah.
And then we all collectively can
that's
succeed.
success.
Exactly.
It's not my individual success, my name on the whatever.
No.
It is looking at the people who are I am so thrilled when I find someone who's significantly better than I am, but at something, but also who just loves that thing and is so good at learning it. It just makes me calm. I feel like that's calming. That's like wonderful when you can pick from an amazing skill set, often women, but also dudes, and plug that into your vision. Like, that's awesome.
I like that it's women and then dudes.
I know. The bros. No, I'm kidding. I like guys.
That's another thing too. It's like part of this whole journey for me as a woman is not angry.
Yeah,
you know,
I love
I'm
that.
not a victim. I'm not complaining. I'm not poor me and all this. We've all been through so much shit, right? I love the men in my life. I need them. I need my gay husbands.
I do too.
As well as my real husband, or my other husband, or as my current husband, as he likes to call himself.
He's hung in for a minute.
He's really
He's hung in.
He's hung in for a minute. I was like, don't get too comfortable. It's only been 24 years, but anyway, I digress.
I think that's wonderful. I also feel like we touched on this, but willing in a way to, as you experience things, this is my take, watching it from having the great benefit. I don't know how many of you guys recall when Brooke spoke openly about postpartum depression. Do you guys remember that? Right. Yes. Which I didn't, until I started having this really exciting process. There's no one more fun to research than Brooke Shields, because it's fascinating and there's so much. But that was wildly cool. I mean, it was helpful to me. It was helpful to the psychiatric and psychological communities and just to so many people. And then you had this asshat, Tom Cruise, who decided to like tell you it wasn't cool. That felt like a microcosm to me of a woman deciding bravely or vulnerably to take something forward that she's experiencing. You know, it's not like you choose the topic, it's what you're experiencing. I know from knowing you a bit that your just morality, your kindness, generosity is like, I know this is happening, I can't be alone, or I must not be alone, but also all those other people who feel alone don't need to be alone. And that's what it felt like to me. You've done that with addiction, I think, with alcoholism, with subjugation of girls. It's pretty amazing. And I wanted to talk about we're talking about aging. Are you comfortable, inadvertently maybe, identifying yourself as a woman who's talking about menopause in a way, who's talking about women's validity as they move forward? How do you make yourself vulnerable comfortably?
I mean, it's a good question, because I do think vulnerability is a sign of strength. But at each stage, if I've experienced something, when you're someone who's been in the public eye for your whole life, everybody has decided who you are, what you feel, and what your experience is. And so from a very early age, I realized in order to own my own narrative, which I probably would not have been able to articulate at 11, but to own my own experience, I had to get ahead of it before anybody else's opinion, which is so readily available to all of us about all of us. But I knew that I needed to go forward in what my experience was. And so it was about my saying, look, this is something that happened to me. Once you say that, you can't be negated. People can have opinions, but you've gotten ahead of it and you've owned your story. And so postpartum was the first thing, because I could not believe the misery and the fear and the loneliness and the shame that I experienced just didn't feel, I didn't understand it. So I started researching, I started learning, and then I realized what it was. And then a very good friend of mine said, why don't you write about it? And I said, I am not going to be another celebrity who's getting on a soapbox telling you, oh, my poor experience. And I was like, I can't do that. And he said, no, if you share, like you have your whole life, then you're opening it up for everybody to not feel so alone. So when things started happening, I mean, the interesting thing too is at this age is we're not just menopause. I'm not, my eggs need a chisel, even if they are there. I don't even know if they're there anymore, but
they're gone. They left.
But
they split.
I think they're like, I'm out. But yes, all of those things are happening, and there are things that are changing, and they're terrifying and they're embarrassing. But then why not talk about it and say, okay, yes, this is a product of being this age. However, it is not only who we are.
Right.
And that, in beginning is now, is also what we've been talking about. Because it's great that people are starting to talk about menopause, and now it's a market that everybody's trying to tap into, and it's a multi-gazillion dollar market. That's great. Yeah. But there is this whole other portion of our value and what who knows? This is uncharted territory. We're not, this isn't the end of the road now. We're healthier, we're growing, we're aging longer, And also just the word aging and anti-aging. Those are two negative words, And we've become accustomed to that kind of vernacular. So talking about menopause, talking about anything, I have no shame. Yes, my pits right now are just ruining this shirt.
Right.
I can guarantee you they are. But like, who cares? Does it make me not cool that I sweat and my thighs are hot? Like, but it's
I love
true.
the specific body parts you're hitting on.
Well, come on, we understand. My knees are lower. I mean, but all of it is like, okay, can we demystify it? Can we, as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, as a person who said, let's get this company, how can I find ways to help us through that?
Right.
To help ease all of it.
Right.
To help address scalp, to help address all of it. And sort of say that this isn't about trying to look younger. It's about looking your best where you are and owning that it's okay.
It is. And I think there's a huge part that we sometimes forget in the kind of U.S. innovation market, where we jump from there's a problem, like there's and then there's Viagra, and like, boom, you're done. First of all, the investment in men's health is just so much more substantial, whether it's brain health, body health. I mean, it's wild. So we'll take all the menopause talk. Like, I'll talk about it all day long, because it's going to take a solid amount of time for us to even begin teasing out brain fog from dementia, from Alzheimer's, from attention issues. So I think what's cool about what you're doing is it's not saying here's a problem with hair loss and here's a pill. I feel like you're doing let's talk about it. I'm going to find out from the community what the main issues are that they're experiencing, and then I'm going to do extreme research, and then we're going to teach the community, maybe this is my take, what's going on. Like, I'd like to know why I'm losing the hair. I think that's agency. And then
why, and what kind of what happens? Why is it gray? What is it losing? What melanin? Like, what all of those things. So to me, I'm a person who excuse me, if I understand something, then I can figure it out.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So then we go back and we keep going back and back and back, and we sort of say, like, okay, is it scalp health, or is it or whatever, what's happening collagen wise, or whatever it is. And by the way, that's not just beauty in a vanity beauty industry way.
Right.
It's educated. It's and it's also truly about, you said research. the tireless research, the tenacity with which you have to do research, because you have to kind of comb through all of the noise, because everybody has an opinion and everybody's an expert. And so you have to keep kind of ferreting through. I'm like a honey badger, I'm like ferreting through to sort of really find where that research is, and then finding the experts who can actually make those products, if that's what you're doing, come to fruition. The thing that I also think happens with many companies is that they start with an idea, a community, they start with a founder, and very often the community gets lost.
Yes, you're saying that.
And that to me is that's a huge, grave, sad error, because without the community, without my fans or people who even care to tune into anything I do, I don't have a career.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And my career started at such a young age, but it's been the fan base, and it's been the people that are tuning in or saying they're interested. They have kept me buoyant my entire career. It's why at 58, I still have the opportunities to work. Yeah. They've changed.
Right.
And that's fine. And but it's this sort of nurturing of our community, our family. This is who we are. We're all coming together. And if I lose my connection with the people that I am of them, they are of me. Like we are one in a way. It sounds like kumbaya, but without them and without us, we don't have a company, we don't have any of it. So
That's
it's to
web.
maintain.
Yeah.
It's to maintain that. So not only do I want as a brand to be a leader in whatever innovative products we have spent years doing the research on, but it's maintaining that community. And it's really
healthy, thriving.
In a healthy, thriving, and it's encouraging women to go into this, to age, if you will, fearlessly. And that doesn't mean you have to start your own company. It just means you can let go of things. You can experience new things. The women that I know who are over 40 have all pivoted in a myriad of different ways.
Oh yeah.
And it's so beautiful to see. And then, we do these sort of group conversations with the community, and sorry if my back's to you guys. It's probably better than my front, but but we engage with the community, and it's wonderful to watch them hold each other up. There'll be a woman in France, and she'll be saying, "Oh my God, that's so great that you did that. I wish I was surrounded by more of these women, or I wish I could." And it's that kind of, when you start to feel it, even in little teeny seeds, when that started to happen in like 2022, I thought, whoa, okay.
That's the magic. Yeah.
Something. This is real, and I cannot disappoint, and I cannot let down or let go of because there's real need here.
And I think that magic of scale coming from truly, sometimes when we say community, you think of like a neighborhood or a room, but I think community of shared values, shared challenges, shared respect, whether you agree or not, is so fundamental to the way in which I hope media continues to propel. I hope communications, journalism doesn't go away because we're just scattering ourselves on social without any research, without legitimate content. I hope that the people who sign up and show up for Beginning Is Now are the people who are active, lean in. They're going to share the things they want to know and the solutions maybe that they've found. They're going to meet up in other places. And I think women are uniquely good at this, uniquely good at seeing someone else's pain or question and maybe feeling like, wait, I've experienced that, don't necessarily know the answer. That's why you need the science and and all of that data behind you. But that's a lot of what we did with Blog Her, and we hope with Flow, and it is magical. It's when you start seeing people who met at your thing, met online, and they're off doing, starting a company together or helping each other out in one way or another. I think that's beautiful.
And also we have to really bring up our young women with us.
What do we do with those guys, right?
Well, they're
Gen Z.
They are a challenge.
Yeah.
But they're also, if they're women, I have 2 young women, and we also have to learn from them as well, but we also have to sort of shepherd them into
Of
understanding
course. Yeah.
that this is a reality. This is what their mother looks like now. This is what your mother is living now. And my older daughter, when she saw the documentary, she said, Mom, women need to see this. They need to see this. And that was she's
Huge moment.
20. So it was a big deal because she understood what that meant. And you compare that to what's happening in social media and what they're met with every day. And that spurred a conversation that I would have never had.
Right, I mean, it's wonderful. When content can inspire conversation, which is what the best side of social and of the sort of theoretical democratization of media, I think, is that you can share stories, share content that if the people are decent and have value, have shared values of sorts towards truth, sourcing things. There's such magic. I'm terrified of social on our girls. I have an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, like tomorrow, who is coming up with that too. And I'm like, I'm a feminist. I raised you right. I'm a model mom. And you are really upset about your weight right now, or you're really, you don't want to go out with your hair naturally extremely curly, something like that. And I'm like, wait a minute, how did that seep in? And then I'm like, oh, I'm a tiny influence on this girl. There's so much else happening.
And it's swirling around them, and it happens. I had a guy say to me, God, when does it begin? When does it start?
Yeah.
And it starts when they're babies, and that's why that's what we also have to work on. And what I've noticed, I have been around for so long. I have.
I'm sorry.
But
amazing.
It is true though, but what you see is you start to see like who are the women in my life who what does longevity mean, and what is kick-ass about? Like my mom was amazing. She was a piece of work, but she was and there was a lot, but she instilled in me so many of the things that I value today that have given me strength, and we need that. And if we don't have, there were plenty of challenges, we all have, but it's starting to impart that to them and really create this sort of conversation. And that I think is what is important. And I sort of look back at the industries that I've been in.
Right.
And feminism is a really interesting word. I will say some things to my kids that are the least feminist thing you can imagine.
Right.
And I think true feminism is really appreciating where the value is, not just fighting.
Right.
This isn't
right.
I'm a woman, hear me roar. It's kind of just I'm a woman, hear me more. Ooh.
Oh shit.
Oh.
Oh shit. Oh wow.
I don't even smoke.
Don't tweet that.
If there was tequila, I'd be doing a shot right this second. I might have some in my purse.
Boom.
Nailed it. No, but there's but it's not from a place of let's hate on everybody and let's do this. But we're different animals.
Yep.
And we have to learn how to play in the sandbox with each other and play each other. And my whole thing, because listen, when you being an entrepreneur and being part of a startup is really not for the weak at heart. Because when you're going into these rooms and you're trying to get money and you're talking to VC guys who need to explain things to you. And I'm just like, I'm gripping and I'm just saying, okay, I'm gonna play.
You're like, I went to Princeton,
yeah,
motherfucker.
I know.
Like, come on.
I know, but you're not gonna win by pulling that card either.
I would have done that.
You know what? There's like, I can pee more, maybe not longer, but, or more often, I should say.
More often.
It's like a pissing contest. I'm not quite sure what that really means, but I do get it. But the thing is, it's how you started. At first I would bristle, and then I would get back, and I'd be like, oh, okay, all right, this is not productive. And then the next time I'd be like, okay, let's let them get it out of their system, and then seep in the information that makes them quiver a little bit. And when you do it not from a place of anger, I don't want to, I always say to my daughter, I'm like, tug of war only works if both of you are tugging.
Oh, right.
Like, let go. Let him fall backwards.
And you've been good at that all, I like that too. You've been good at this forever, like at having hostility perhaps come, and then
an understatement.
And and then diffusing with this fucking sunshine of like, okay, that's on you. This is what I've just witnessed in watching some of your work, and not saying like, oh, it's, but saying, okay, there's something going on here, being sort of psychologically adept about it, and thinking, okay, man, boy, in Silicon Valley, you need to say your things, and cool, and then we can move on, and you'll invest in my radically scaling company. But I think that the ability to not fight, I try this all the time, to not get offended, to not get defensive, I struggle. I feel sometimes like you must have really, I don't know, either good wiring or...
Well, I'm the least Zen person I know. But there is something that I have learned, and most vitriol that gets spewed at you, if you really just think about it, it only bothers you if you believe it, and somehow it taps into an insecurity of yours. 99.9% of the time, it's their problem.
Right.
Now, that's the hardest thing to do because, I'm a strong girl and I want to rip people apart and probably could.
Right.
But like I get like, ugh. But the thing is, then you just sort of, it's like my mom used to say, count to 10, count to 10, count to 10.
That's good advice.
And then I realized, this is their problem.
Yeah.
This is their insecurity. This is their problem because otherwise, there's really no need to be that toxic and angry. There's more effort in that.
It's more exhausting, it's more aging, all
but
those
that's
things.
Like 58 years of seeing it and feeling it and being, obliterated by the press. And I mean, and then if there's 1,000 good things said about you in the press or by somebody, and there's one negative, that's the one I tattoo on my forehead backwards so I can see it every morning in the mirror.
Right.
But that's
wow,
so.
You thought that through.
Yeah.
Backwards, okay.
Oh yeah, no. Oh yeah. This is a lot of therapy. But you have to you got to start it younger because my kids will come home and I have beautiful daughters. We all do. We have beautiful children. Our children are the most beautiful in the world. Every single one of them. They really are. But my one who's 6'1" and she's only 17 and she's it's shocking to look at her, but. Where girls mean to her.
Wow.
And she comes home and we have to talk about it. And I say, she goes, don't tell me to lead with kindness. Right. Don't tell me to take the high road. She's like, I'm getting a nosebleed with this high road.
Oh my God.
And that was my line. I gave it to her. But I said, okay, I get it. Well, come home and vent to me. And then let's take apart what it It's so hard to not get hurt.
It is.
Because
I think the take it apart is good. The take it apart is, it's almost
hurts.
like, I don't feel like you approach, now I'm thinking about it, with necessarily sunshine, it's with intellect. Like, it's like you approach the hate or with like a psychological
Otherwise
awareness.
They win. Otherwise I would be in a puddle. Right, and then you sit there going like, oh, wait a minute, I've just been destroyed by people probably I don't respect.
Right.
By opinions who are not grounded in any fact. And so, but I can't say I felt this, arrived at 15.
Right.
No, I was backing out of rooms because I had a fat ass because I wasn't skinny. Like I was the athletic one. I was the man, she's got man hands.
Oh my God, man hands. Wow.
But the point of all of that is you get so torn down and it's hard to really be able to build yourself back up, and you need other women to do it. You need people around you, and it's important for our young people. And that was why, with Beginning Is Now, I also want my daughters, because when my daughters are this age, I want them to be living.
And you want them to be
with
psyched.
honesty and fearlessness and feel like look at what they've done, and now what? I had a podcast called Now What, and it was about the times that you become obliterated and how do you pick yourself up and have the courage. And it doesn't have to be bravery. It only has to be bravery to give yourself the credit you deserve.
That's well said. That's a really good point. And I think that that's something that is universally challenging. And it feels like you're being defensive even when you're maybe just caring for yourself. And with Beginning Is Now, I love that you're doing both the job of destigmatizing and elevating, getting the conversations out there, because that's like when we talk about, whether we're talking about perimenopause, menopause, we're talking about mental health, we're talking about any of the things, body image. I think a big part of even finding the innovation is start with can we just say the words? Can we say like, well, I'm in menopause, thus XYZ is happening. We have a lot of women. The stats are staggering of percentage of women who leave the workforce as a function of symptoms intervening with their productivity, embarrassment, et cetera. It's, if we're cool and can give each other, I mean, with my friends and family, we can do the like head fake of, yeah, like, gotta go, gotta pee, gotta unsweat, gotta like brain fog. But I think if we can normalize inside of workplaces, inside of community conversations, that this is health. This is a life phase. Hormonal changes. There are lots of solutions, and I think the solutions you're bringing forth and your continued loop of destigmatizing is such a gift, because I don't think you'll stop with the products. I'm giving a soliloquy about this, but I feel like your products are the things that run a business. I feel like this community is going to become a platform. You changed the face of postpartum, like literally, like you did. Shut up. You did. Sorry. Like women didn't keep dying, and
Right.
you know, because like an educated, thoughtful, trusted person was willing to say, I experienced this. I had to, take medicine for a while. It was amazing, and I know that this is what's going to come.
Well,
for age.
thank you. And it's also, I never set out to say like, I'm gonna save the world, I'm gonna do this. It's like, no, these are things that happen. I'm willing to talk about them, and then let's see how we can move through them.
Yeah.
With grace for ourselves.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm not on a
You got a
pedestal,
soapbox.
and
I know you won't do a soapbox.
I won't, because
yeah.
I'm not an expert.
Right, right.
I'm only an expert in being me, living. Like
An experience.
and
Once you've experienced it, it's yours.
Exactly. And that's why I want to actually create products that make sense and help these situations, whatever they are, and whatever we have done the extensive research on. That's an element to it. But there's so much more that a community like this, galvanized with each other and through the messaging, that it then becomes a movement.
Right.
You don't set out. I always joke that photographers now will take a picture of me. They'll be like, "We're going to do some iconic pictures." And you're like,
"What does that mean?"
Tell me how that's going to work out for you. None of these things you set out to do. They either become, they're in the zeitgeist, they strike a chord, or they don't. And you have to you can't seek that. That can't be the mission. The mission is, how do we and what we want to do is really tell women that this age is a brilliant, vibrant, it's about vitality. And it can also be about just being tired and wanting to like give myself a break. Like it doesn't have to be, you have to start a company. You have to really be able to say, don't you want to just live in this age and grow with joy and honesty and like, and just be.
And friendships are so much deeper, the friendships. The work experience
And the
can be
people you don't
amazing.
want to be around as well.
Fuck them. Like, done. Like, there's no.
Yeah.
Like, there's no. We're not taking anymore. Like, we're good. And I think that we all are very appreciative that you're bringing your big brain and all of and.
Well, thank you for that. I mean, I did go to college, but
No.
no, I mean it. I went to college because I knew that I was in an industry where they just couldn't wait to take absolutely everything away from me. They want to take my identity, they want to take my confidence, they want to take my youth, they wanted to take every possible thing that they could just get their sticky little flypaper hands on. And I knew that I needed to develop an opinion, a brain, and then I needed a family, I needed friends that I would grow with, because I knew that there are certain things that cannot be taken away from you. And I was blessed to be able to go to a good university, but that's not it. It's finding ways that they can't keep chipping away at you and you don't let them.
And I love that you are applying all of this to a company, a community that we can all benefit from. I want to make sure we're hitting on what can we do for you, because again, I get to talk to a lot of women entrepreneurs, and you're like one of the best. I have to say, truly, there's just big brain and there's a lot of calm self-awareness, and that's hard because you're up against so many things and so many rooms, and a lot of challenges, and you have imposter syndrome, which is not a thing. It's a made-up misogynistic concept that it's your syndrome, not the fact that y'all are dicks and don't want me here. So that's different.
Oh, that we always have to work on. I think we just always have to work on
so much more positive than I am, and so, but the fact that
we're a good pair.
I know, because I'm a little
I can be
mean.
like the golden retriever puppy.
I know,
Like, do you like me now? Do you like me now?
Little terrier.
And you're the honey badger. We all need one. We need a honey badger.
Okay,
and we need a golden retriever puppy.
Here for that. I am here for that. If anyone else needs that, I'm here for you too. But so anyway, I'm so profoundly stoked that you are taking this on. I can tell it's not going to be like a 2-year thing.
This is my thing.
This is the business. Well, so how can we everybody is gonna, I'm sure, beginningisnow.com is where we get to sign in. We'll be kind of early, we'll be the South by crew.
Yeah, you kind of will, because by summer, all of the products that are already tested and created and already
She's
proven.
not allowed to say the name straight up.
I can't. Yeah, I just can't say
the
what.
name.
But we will be launching in the summer, and all of the community of Beginning Is Now will be the first to be privy to it, and because it was all developed for them, with them, and
It's yours.
really
It's
theirs. So I'm the conduit to it.
And they've got 1,000 new emails a day. So in order for us to continue to be special,
any billionaires,
just call her.
tell him
Call
to.
her.
I'll lift my skirt.
No.
Okay, sorry.
She's like, I'll show my
right.
tits.
Shit.
Okay, fine. No.
I will sell the nipple pads that I have covering, and I will sign them with a Sharpie.
That is so awesome. That is so profound. Oh my God.
I am very deep.
She's ready. But that's what an entrepreneur does. You do. You sell your fucking
Sells
soul.
my nipple covers.
Yeah, you do.
My
That's
little-
what it's in the document, the journal of things you do. But anyway, so we all get to be in on it, and it's very exciting. And thank you for all you're doing, dude. It's amazing.
Thank you.
You're a total icon.
How amazing is this woman?
Yeah, that's what you're here for.
Oh my God!
That's what you're here for.
We are friends.
Shut up. Yes.
Now we are friends.
We are friends.
This is
I
when
have
you
to-
meet women, you're like, oh God.
And my little story is that I grew up in Princeton as a townie, and so when Brooke was there, she changed the Jersey in Jersey. When she showed up to go to college, everyone from my dad, which is not creepy, he's a good dude. My dad, I was in maybe a sophomore in high school or something. We would just go and prowl around the campus to try to get eyes on her. And that's weird because it was a multi-generational obsession, which again goes to how much you had on you, but somehow everybody liked you, all those people. I did, my other students, what are they called? Yeah, the other students in my school. Classmates!
Classmates. That was a tough one.
That's just brain fog.
That's just mental pause. That's not menopause.
Anyway, we're all, and it was this grace. You're just one, and we went to football games to see with your boyfriend. It was really creepy. Anyway,
it was really cute.
I've been trying to be friends for 17 years.
I wish I had known. But it's you go into an environment like that, and everybody left me alone. They gave me privacy, and I was like, I don't want privacy. I want friends. And then it evened out, and they got, and they were just, that's what you do. You just throw yourself in and triangle.
I also went to Triangle Club. My brother was in the trumpet. I played the trumpet in Triangle. Oh yeah, this is weird. I went to the theater things to just try to get close. Yeah,
we would have been friends if I'd known.
Well, so guys, we're all friends now.
Thank you.
And we'll give it up. Okay, man, you're great. That's amazing. You're the best.